Welkom bij de podcastserie Symbol Talks, waar we bespreken hoe organisaties slimmer, sneller en succesvoller kunnen worden. Met nieuwe kennis en inspirerende voorbeelden helpen we jou om processen te verbeteren, mensen in beweging te krijgen en resultaten te versnellen.
Welkom in deze podcast Symbol Talks, waar we in gesprek gaan met mensen op het gebied van kwaliteitsmanagement en operationeel management. We hebben vandaag de gast Mauricio Sampaio, but we'll do this podcast in English, Mauricio. You talk Dutch.
I appreciate that.
But today maybe it's better to have this podcast in English.
Volgende keer.
Volgende keer.
We'll do in Dutch, yes.
Okay, thank you. Mauricio, you've been working 25 years already in quality management, mainly in the automotive. Can you a little bit tell us about that? What is your experience?
Sure. It's a journey of 25 years, Dick. I have started in quality management a little bit by accident. I have my degree in civil engineer, and as soon as I left the university, I got a job offer to work in the new constructed site of Ford in Brazil, and that's what I started getting in contact with quality management and practices the process related to quality management. Since then, I have worked in different organizations with different suppliers, with different customers. Also, getting in contact with their experience with quality, learning from each one of them what works, what doesn't work, but also learning by myself in the companies I have worked. It was there were 25 years mostly in quality department, but I also had the opportunity to work in different departments of some specific companies, in production, process engineering, and even product development. But I would say that 90% of my experience is really on quality management, leading teams to work on the.
But it was a coincidence, you say. So you never choose about.
It was not something I studied for.
No. What did you study then?
Civil engineer.
Civil engineering.
So, yeah, I had a very short experience with civil engineering, working in a company. I contracted I built highways in Brazil, but that was only for a couple of months. And then I had a job offer, quality engineer, in a supplier from Ford, in this new site from Ford. And I said, okay, what is quality about? Why do they need people to work on this something so abstract, which is quality? And it was a moment that it was difficult to understand in the beginning what was quality about, because we were just in a green field, so we were starting to build all the processes, comply with the customer requirements, documents which are needed to be delivered. And so I had to learn by doing and connect the pieces of the puzzle. Yeah. Meanwhile, I was doing the job.
The first piece of the puzzle was probably the documentation. That everybody starts with documentation. The bigger, the better. The more documents, the better, or not? It's not the case?
Exactly. At that time, it was the standard from the ISO standard from 94, which was a version of the standard edition of the standard, which is really focused on documentations.
Yeah, but it has changed, fortunately.
It has changed a lot.
Yeah,
this is something that I have noticed along the last few years. Less and less focus on documents, more focus on the value chain, the processes, the connection between the activities.
Yeah. Can you tell us a little bit about, let's say, this change? You mentioned this as a shift from compliance mindset to a culture of quality. What do you mean with that?
Yeah, especially in the automotive business, we learn a lot from our customers. So the car manufacturers, basically they have to rely on strong performance of their suppliers, so that they have this strong process to evaluate, to homologate new suppliers. When I started in Ford, up there in 2001, basically we have a very clear task in front of us. We need to get the IATF certificate. At that time, it was ISO TS 16949 certificate.
Yeah. Elaborate a little bit on that one before we continue, because that's the difference with ISO 9001 that most people are familiar with. So IS TS 16949.
Yes, it's the standard that it's from the automotive industry.
Yeah, at that time, and now it's called the IATF.
Now it has been changed to IATF. Now it's developed by IATF, and it's basically a complement of the requirements from the 9001.
Okay.
So the standard 16949 basically confirms all the requirements from the ISO 9001 and adds different requirements in the different clauses of the standard, which are specifically applicable for automotive industry.
Yeah, does automotive makes itself very difficult to have this huge bunch of extra rules and roles and requirements within the standard?
Yes. And in the beginning, it was even stronger. So as I was saying in the beginning, it was a matter of complying with the requirements from the standard. So if we have 20 different requirements in the standard, we have to develop 20 documents, 20 procedures, and then we are ready to be audited. So it was not basically I saw, and this is an issue I have seen many times, is the companies, they develop their quality management system to comply with something. Most of the times to comply with the ISO 9001 or with the IATF 16.
With the objective to pass the audit and to keep the certificate in the hall, and that's done.
To put the certificate in the wall and say it's done.
Yeah.
And several times it's also the expectation from the management to the quality department to keep the certificates.
Yeah.
But on the other hand, we ignore and we lose the opportunity of using the QMS, which is built to comply with the standard in our benefit. And that's how I said, for me, I see really the quality management system as a leverage to help the managers and the people to drive the company.
Yeah, what's needed for that? Because that's a total mind shift compared with having the certificate hanging on the wall and be done with it. How do you get that done?
I think what is important, one of the things which is very important, I'm going to mention that first, is that the top management has the clear understanding what is the role of quality. And sometimes this is not there. I have experienced this in my past experience, in the works I have, in the companies I have worked, but also with suppliers, with customers. If management does not have a clear role for quality, a vision for quality, it's difficult to build something which is useful for the organization.
Yeah.
So most of the times, they do not understand exactly what a quality management system can offer to their organizations. And the work of the quality manager is really to bring this awareness to be persuasive, sufficiently persuasive to convince the managers about the importance of a system which is useful and then support the initiatives.
Yeah, but how do we do that? That's the question.
Communication,
alignment,
and try to, I think it's one thing which is really important. Sometimes it's disconnected, but it's important to connect the quality management system with the mission. What are the objectives of the organization? It may be a long-term plan, but it can be the budget, the numbers that they have to achieve that year. And there's no quality management system which can be useful in different organizations. Each company has its own quality management system. So if you understand what is the real true north, what is the true north of the organization, what is the long-term view, what is the objective of that year, you can play with your management system to better help you instead of being a burden in terms of bureaucracy.
Yeah, but many years, I remember from my old days, I was not working as a quality manager, but I worked a lot with quality. And it was very often, let's say, a separate department. So
yeah,
if you had a question or a customer complaint, it was, let's say, addressed to the quality department, let's say.
This is a mistake, as I understand.
This is a mistake.
The name is a problem because you call the department quality. So, and also it gets immediately linked to everything which is has the name quality is a work of, it's understood like
it goes to the left.
Quality team. Yeah, it goes to the left, and the rest of the people have to work on what is important.
Yeah.
So this is the mindset sometimes, and it has to be changed. So that's why it's important to connect the activities, the processes from the quality department with the long-term objectives.
So for my own experience, the best way was to get this, let's say, changed was a big customer complaint. If you have, let's say, a customer that really says, now you have to do it different, otherwise you will lose the business, for instance, then people start running.
Yes, you can always push, and this comes a lot from our customers.
So I was always happy with the customer complaint. Then at least you can you have the
Yeah,
leverage
you
to
know,
do something,
Yes,
to change something.
some people use also with the audits
The
results.
audits,
So let's
yeah.
for the preparation of the audits, that's the moment you get everything that you have asked the whole year.
Have you had many audits from suppliers or from customers?
Yes, many of them.
Yeah.
Many of them.
What was that? I can tell my experience, but I learned a lot from especially these audits, because they pinpoint you at some things that's sometimes you're even aware of, and you hope they will not find, and sometimes they point you at something you don't know. So the organization can learn from that.
Yes, I have experienced several audits from customers. What I noticed, something that I can mention is that they really know what is important for their organization. So they're well prepared for the audits, and they're quite pragmatic in terms of what do I need to check. It's not because there is a standard requirement in the IATF 16949, which tells the organization to do something, that he will do the audit based on that. So he will pick up what is really important for that specific customer from them and check during the audit. They have the knowledge of your process. They have contact with different suppliers from the same product you provide.
Mm-hmm.
So it's natural that they have also the technical understanding of the product, of the service.
Yeah.
And that it may become a more difficult audit.
So these auditors, they are from clients, let's say, customers, yes. And they fly into your plants, and then they start walking 2-3 days or so to deep dive on the process and the documentation.
That's correct.
So they are from all over the world, these people, coming to this plant, in this case in Brazil, in this case in the beginning. So
correct.
Do you see a difference in culture from auditors from Germany, from France, from Japan, from United States? So what have you seen differences there?
Difference in terms of the audit, I would not say that I have noticed. In terms of the auditor, the behavior from different auditors from different geographies, I have never noticed anything remarkable.
Okay, because I saw some difference at my time in that. Yes, I saw the difference in that. For instance, the Americans, they look at the paperwork. The Japanese, they only ask us 3 questions. What is the standards? Do you have a standard? Is everybody following the same standard? And do you have a process to improve the standards?
Yeah.
They did that for 3 days. In my case, 3 days only asking these questions.
Yeah.
And then the German people, they dive into the machine and they really understand what is going on from a technical standpoint. And because my sample size is not that big, so I cannot say this is general. That is why I am asking you if you see a difference in cultural behavior. We thought we saw some differences.
Yeah, it may be that. Definitely, as I said, there's a difference between the cultures. So when we talk about Japan, when we talk about Asian cultures, so we can say that they are more focused on the discipline. So it's a little bit more natural that they want to check if you're really doing what you have written,
yeah,
or what you documented as a standard. So there's not so much space for deviations. Americans may be a little bit more pragmatic, but I think it comes mostly from the customer, from the entity which is behind the audit, and take into consideration what is coming. If it's development of a new part, if it's a new process, or if it's a new supplier, totally new supplier. So sometimes the audits are surprisingly strong. Sometimes audits are surprisingly superficial. But I think it depends a lot of the case.
Yeah, you worked in Brazil, and then you came to the Netherlands. How many years was that ago? How long do you live now in the Netherlands?
I have been living in the Netherlands for the last 10 years. Yeah.
10 years. So
10 years. For
Apollo Vredestein. And before that, you worked for Ford and Continental in Brazil.
Yes.
But Apollo Vredestein is also Indian, of course. So how would you describe the cultural difference between, let's say, Brazil, India, the Netherlands, Hungary? Apollo has a plant in Hungary. Do you see difference between these countries from a cultural perspective?
Definitely, I see. And I think it's important to take advantage of that.
How then? Yes. How would you do that?
You need to identify what are the strengths of the people from this specific location. And I even have a story about that to tell later. But it's important that you understand what are the strengths of the team members. For example, you got to a new job in a new company, which is in the Netherlands. So for me, it was when I just arrived here, immediately when I arrived here, I was taking care of a specific problem that it was happening in the plant, and I requested one of my team members. I said, "Okay, I have seen this before. This is because of that," and I explained what could be the cause. And can you please take care of this? We need to do this. So I was bringing my technical expertise to solve a specific problem in the past. But the fact is, and I thought that would be really
That would be enough.
enough, and she or he would be very happy to learn the technical solution from me.
Yeah.
I did not want to
It didn't happen.
the wheel. It was terrible. And during the first 3 months, we have been discussing this on a daily basis, and there were a lot of conflict. And in a certain moment, I understood that what happens is that this person wanted to develop their own way to solve the problem.
Mm-hmm.
And I was forcing against her culture. So for me, this was an important message I got when I arrived in here, to try to understand the people and how can I take benefit of that.
But before you continue, would you describe that as a typical Dutch cultural?
I think there are some characteristics related to the decision-making process.
Yeah.
That it's very...
I know we are stubborn, but
not stubborn,
it's not that we would not want to learn, let's say, from a technical expert.
You look for consensus, which is not bad, definitely. Yeah. The only thing is that sometimes I had the impression that I was delaying too much the decision-taking for the sake of...
learning.
Yeah, for the sake of learning, yes, and also to have the consensus.
Yeah.
And
so what happened after 3 months then? You can do two things. You can bang on the table, or you can...
For this specific person, we had a conversation. And I said, okay, you take the lead. You decide how you're going to approach the problem. And we worked with some deadlines. And I gave her more space to work on the topic. And I mean, it was about 2 or 3 months. The problem was completely gone. The solution was there. And most of what is for me was most important is that the team was happy with the fact that they were able to find their own solutions. Mm. And we're talking about quality, but quality is made of people. So it's about it's about also celebrating the successes and so on. This for me was a key which was turned, and I changed even my leadership style.
Yeah.
When I learned this in this episode. So after that, I have worked in Hungary also, and I have faced similar situations. But for me, it was a little bit more natural to understand, okay, let me understand what is the culture here, what I should do, what I should not do.
And what's the difference between the Netherlands and Hungary from a cultural point of view?
I think the Netherlands, they are very driven by challenges. I think challenges drive the Netherlands, the Dutch colleagues I have worked with. It's a culture of doing things best, innovating, a lot of creativity. In Hungary, we work a little bit more with compliance. So it's a lot of hierarchical relationships, strong hierarchical relationships. But also it's what is the word that I want to say? It's a place where if you are able to cultivate, if you're able to cultivate your team members and evidence to them and congratulate them for the achievements they do, if you can provide a clear support, close support to them, they really recognize and they work with, they stick to you and they really embark on the
go for it. Yeah.
They go for it.
Yeah.
So it's a little bit more focused on compliance rather than creativity in the Netherlands. Or
but creativity is very important. It's very let's say valuable. But if you want to work in quality, you want to have a predictable outcome. You need also working according standards, etc. And that's a counter the opposite of creativity. How would you do that then?
I think it's a balance. I think it's a balance which needs to be found. Of course, we should not stick to what is written and avoid any other way to do things. I think it's important to know that we can always do different things different in a different way, even better.
Yeah.
And but it's a creativity which is which somehow, I would not say control it, but monitor it. So we have to give space to creativity so that people can try different ways to do things, not limiting their scope, but at the same time defining what is the baseline and how it should have been, anything has to be done.
Yeah, and if you find a new and a better way, then you should put it as the standard again.
Standardize the new, yeah.
Yeah, standardize the new way of working.
If you find something, a better way to do something, you have definitely to standardize.
So, how would you describe the skills that are becoming more critical nowadays?
Well,
the skills of a quality manager.
I mentioned about how persuasive quality managers need to do, and I think this is a very important characteristic. If you look to the organizations in our industry, automotive industry, we don't see so many senior managers coming out of the department quality. Normally they come from sales, they come from finance departments,
yeah.
And it's natural, I would say, even to find managers who are not very clear in terms of what is the role of quality, how important it is quality. So there is a poor understanding. So I think it lies on the quality management and directions to guarantee that the senior leadership understand what quality can bring to the organization, and how the quality management system can deliver what is requested by the senior management to drive the company.
Yeah.
Because, I mean, which is the manager that would not like to have a proper management review done every year with all the information provided? You have all the facts and figures in front of you.
Yeah, but you're right that most companies are driven either by sales or by finance, and not by engineering or by quality.
Yes, several times there is no understanding what is a system or a quality management system.
Yeah.
In many cases, it's understood as a set of different papers.
I've been studying mechanical engineering. I've never been taught about quality management during my study at all. So
that's the problem.
That's the problem.
That's
maybe,
a big problem. There's a little, little education, little guidance when we start in this journey. As I said, most of the things I have learned in my career was learning by dealing with deadlines and pressure from the customers to deliver specific documents.
Same to me, yeah.
And then you receive mails from different customers with additional requirements, and you are basically working on developing new procedures to comply with each one of these requirements.
Yeah.
So that's what we have to.
You have been working inside companies for 25 years. As quality manager mainly, and now you are working as a consultant. You are hired to give advice. So, how would you describe the difference in that role, working inside a company or let's say outside a company? Is that a big difference?
Of course, there are differences in terms of the role I play right now. Because once you are working inside the organization, you are also responsible for the daily results and the team management, administrative activities, which takes a lot of your time. Since you are consultants, you use better your time to do what is really important in terms of giving advice and helping the organizations. Yeah. But I would say that the difficulties which are present in the life of the manager sometimes are not there in the life of the consultant.
The politics, maybe.
The politics is something that it's always there, but also the administrative works, jobs, or tasks, which takes a lot of time. As I said, customer-specific requirements coming from different customers, and in the end, you may be syncing over so many requirements and documents to prepare. I think that's a key point. So
maybe as one of the final questions, do you have a tip or a takeaway for listeners that are working in quality, either quality engineer or quality managers, what they can learn from you?
I would say two things. I think it's very important to understand what is the vision, what is the mission of the quality department, and we have to define this very clearly. Not concentrating there all the responsibility over performance of the organization, not even compliance, but to focus on the team that has a very clear scope of activity. And the other thing that I think it's important, very important, is aligned with the long-term results which are expected by senior management. quality is not a purpose. Quality is a way to reach specific objectives. And we should not be satisfied with documents which are hanging on the wall saying that we are certified by specifically institutions. In the end, the customer is there, and that's what we have to focus, and we need to please the customer, improve our products and services, always using the quality management system.
Very good tip. Also, maybe if you can explain the higher management, how much money is wasted by cost of poor quality, then maybe they are getting more interested in what quality can do for the entire organization.
Yes, and it's always understood. Several times it's understood like scrap costs. When we talk about waste, people relate immediately to scrap
there's so much more than scrap only.
But so much more how inefficient we are in terms of our business processes. For example, how much time is taken from the moment someone leaves the organization to someone joins or also the organization. So, are we losing time with this? What is the cost that it brings to the organization? So, several times it's not on the radar of the managers to understand how much money is being. It's cost of opportunity. Yes.
So it's a lot that can be done.
A lot can be done.
Okay.
Yes, definitely.
Well, thank you to share your knowledge and experience with us, Mauricio.
Thanks, Dick.
We talk to each other in another podcast. Maybe.
It was my pleasure. Thanks.
Thank you.
Thanks a lot.
Leuk dat je deze podcast hebt beluisterd. We zien je graag terug bij een van onze volgende podcasts.